Good day. We've called for a short brief to that we go live and discuss the critical issue regarding a bill that has been tabled before Parliament. I thought that this required just some extra thoughts and appeal to our people to demonstrate that there's something sinister. President Hakainde Hichilema is trying very hard, not just to practice dictatorship, but to entrench it through legislation and passing of very bad laws like the current bill that is before Parliament. So I thought that we could quickly gather and discuss this matter. Two issues. The Bank of Zambia has increased monetary policy rate again. The Bank of Zambia, through the Monetary Policy Committee, has raised the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points to 14.0% from 13.5% in the third quarter of 2024. Dr. Denny Kaliali and his team appear to just have lost it. Look at the draconian measures and the archaic methods they are using to attempt to curb inflation, to attempt to control the foreign exchange rate, which market has become volatile. He's implementing measures that are chasing inflation. He will not attend to the big issues of cost of living. In fact, he should refer to the fiscal side of the issues. Blame his Minister of Finance, who has allowed the mines, for example, not to pay the proper and just fair taxes, who has allowed the mines to literally get away with murder. They're not paying proper taxes because he gave them incentives. It's the things that are happening on the fiscal side of the economy. On the monetary side, is literally swimming against the tide. And I don't think that any of these measures will curb inflation, that they will curb or will attend to the cost of living. He's trying very hard, but I find Dr. Den Kalialia approach to the monetary policy a bit archaic. I must say, the president must seek someone who probably can attend to the crisis, and also the fiscal side where Honorable Minister Msokotwane is. That is where you need to do things. For example, on the current load shedding crisis, you remove duty on solar equipment and solar products. Imagine if you had allowed for issues like solar batteries and panels to be manufactured in our country, and you give them incentives, you give them, you allow them to bring equipment for manufacturing of those equipment duty-free. You return the money in Zambia, you'll allow the money to be in the economy, you'll allow jobs to be created. But this crisis, in fact, helps us externalize more money because, for example, of the huge bill that ZESCO is accumulating. Honorable Den Kaliaria, he's literally at sea. He recently introduced a 15% over any remittances of $2,000 abroad. He says you have to pay this, or you have to show that you pay taxes. Forex exchange regulations like we had in the 80s do not work. They just allow a black market to emerge. And this is what is happening. People will avoid the banks and will not know how much is being traded in our economy, because people will move to the black market. They will trade to try to escape all these forceful exchange regulations that he's bringing. There is an announcement by the Electoral Commission of Zambia that there will be a by-election in December in Kawambwa. This matter is totally illegal. You are aware that there is currently subsisting a High Court order from the Chinsali High Court. Honorable Justice Sinyango issued an order against ECZ. ECZ has decided to ignore that court order. This election they are calling is illegal, like they did to the council by-election in Kawambwa, where there was a subsisting court order. They ignored it and proceeded to hold the elections. And I think learning from the earlier practice, they are proceeding. So Honorable Nixon Chilangwa obtained an injunction against the Electoral Commission of Zambia through the Chinsali High Court. The order was issued by Honorable Justice Willie Sinyangwe. Honorable Nixon Chilangwa obtained the order since he has appealed against both his conviction and his sentence, and he has sought bail pending appeal. It appears a bail pending appeal was deliberately been denied, so that clause where it says when a member of parliament is serving a sentence, then you can declare a seat vacant. This is deliberate, and this is literally abusing the court process. This is abusing the law. This is circumventing the law. This is an abuse of the Constitution, and literally, like they stole the Kawambwa Council District Council seat, they are stealing the Kawambwa parliamentary seat. What the Electoral Commission of Zambia should have done was to go to court, go to Chinsali High Court. You argue that there is a constitutional court ruling that has prescribed that we have to hold elections within 90 days. You have to go and justify your reasons before a court, and you have to have a court order discharged. You cannot, in the face of it, it is behaving like Chabinga, who held a press conference despite being aware of an active order against him acting as so-called PF president. He proceeded to ignore the law. He proceeded to even make declarations, even when he was aware that there was an active court order. This lawlessness is being perpetrated by the state. Here is ECZ. There is an active court order like it was on the Kawambwa Council seat, now Council's chairperson seat. Now they've moved to Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, despite an active court order. This kind of lawlessness, this unconstitutional practice, will plunge our country into what we may not wish for. It is imperative and important for institutions such as the ECZ, such as the Registrar of Societies, such as Parliament, to respect the law. You cannot have institutions of democracy, autonomous, independent institutions that are the ones at the forefront of breaking the law. So the call for this by-election is illegal. I don't know what our lawyers are doing about it, but clearly this illegality and lawlessness must be challenged before the court of law. Now let me come to the substantive issue why we have called for this discussion. We have called on government and the Minister of Justice, Honorable Princess Kasune, to withdraw the bill she has tabled before Parliament. There is a bill currently, it went through first reading and it has been referred to a committee. The committee is called Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. The Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance is currently looking at the Penal Code Amendment Bill number 17 of 2024. What do they wish to achieve? Let me just read briefly. So, according to Solicitor General Marshall Muchende, says the object of the bill is to amend the Penal Code so as to A, strengthen the law on the offense of expressing, showing hatred, ridicule, or contempt for a person or a group of persons, provide for the offense. There's another matter of stealing medicines. They've stiffened the law when someone steals medicines from clinics and hospitals up to 20 years. And there's another matter regarding ZICTA and the property on vandalism. But I am interested in the matter of to strengthen the law on the offense of expressing or showing hatred, ridicule, or contempt for a person or a group of persons. The bill has listed 5 items that if you issue any statement, issues regarding race, tribe, ethnicity, religion, place of origin, and color, you will be liable to sentences from 7 years up to 20 years. So it prohibits speech. So let me just go to the statement that we have written, and let me read it. We are asserting that you cannot enact a law designed to impose such punitive penalties and a 20-year sentence without thorough public debate and without input from stakeholders. This matter has already gone through first reading and is before a committee on legal affairs, human rights and governance. They are already scrutinizing and is supposed to come for tabling before Parliament and second reading. So you cannot enact such a law designed to impose such punitive penalties and a 20-year sentence without thorough public debate and without input from key stakeholders. Remember, President Hakainde Hichilema recently said at a press conference that he's going to ensure that he stiffens the law against tribal talk and ethnic talk. This is coming from the president himself and is disregarded what the views are, the place of our country, the place of freedom of expression in our constitution, and the place of which Zambia is. He has disregarded that and he has brought this draconian law with draconian measures. Let me start with Article 20 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. It says, except with his own consent, no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his or her freedom of expression, that is to say, freedom to hold opinions without interference, freedom to receive ideas without interference, freedom to receive information without interference, freedom to impart and communicate ideas and information without interference, and whether the communication to the public should generally to any person or class of person, and freedom from interference with his correspondence. The Constitution of the Republic of Zambia guarantees freedom of expression. But the National Assembly, through its Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, is currently considering, among other bills, a bill to amend the Penal Code to repeal and replace Section 70 in order to prohibit and restrict certain type of speeches and expression. The bill seeks to allegedly strengthen punishment for speech offenses such as expression of hatred, ridicule, sectarianism, incitement, ethnic or tribal division, ill will, hostility or contempt. The law also seeks to increase jail terms to between 7 years up to 20 years. In its view, government seeks to criminalize expression of hatred and contempt to promote social respect and to curb discriminatory language. Government also seeks to provide for a law that will, according to them, act as a deterrent against hate speech, against inciting violence, and against discrimination, stigmatization of individuals or groups. Why are we concerned? Government is pushing one of the most draconian bills to grace our parliament. A casual scrutiny of the Penal Code Amendment Bill number 17 of 2024 seeks to severely restrict constitutionally guaranteed freedom of expression, freedom to hold opinions, freedom to espouse religious beliefs and cultural views, and it flies in the face of internationally recognized protocols and conventions. I have stated religious beliefs because the way this discussion is espoused. For example, some writings of Ellen G. White of the Adventist Church and her view on the Catholic Church, this can send you to, to 20 years because it falls in this issue of hate speech, that you are raising speech against a group of people. So, for example, against the Catholic Church. The views on cultural matters also just literally fall on this. Even our chimbuya may be criminalized. We may not even do our chimbuya in the manner this bill has been couched. The proposed amendments have been drafted in wording and language that is wise and broad, and it is using undefined term to understand what expression the law wishes to restrict. For example, the terms such as ridicule, ill will, hostility, contempt, ethnic or tribal divisions have not been defined and will likely be subject to arbitrary application and abuse by the state. This law will infringe on the fundamental right to freedom of expression, will be arbitrary in its application, it's overreaching, and will be frequently be misapplied and abused by the state to curb honest criticism, to curb checks and balances, to prevent exposing misbehavior, corruption, misrule, and misgovernance in the manner that the wording of this law is. The other proposed amendments designed to prohibit expression or speech that, in their view, may cause public disorder or civil unrest or may result in strife of an uprising against government are a duplication of the already existing laws, such as the Defense Act does provide to deal with these crimes. The Public Order Act also is very active on these matters. The Criminal Procedure Code. So why do they want to bring all these issues in this amendment bill number 17 of 2024? And imposing a 20-year sentence for speech-related offenses is totally disproportionate. It's totally excessive and is contrary to the principles of fairness and justice. Further, the wording of the proposed amendments may outlaw or restrict public gatherings entirely. You should look at the law. It is clear that looking at the foregoing, the law is being crafted to clearly curb checks and balances, dampen public discourse on critical issues affecting the country, and it seeks to outlaw criticism of government. As seen in the last 3 years, where there has been selective application of the law against the opposition. Look, the Archbishop was called a Lucifer. To date, the Director of Public Prosecutions has refused to prosecute Batuke Imenda, the Secretary General of UPND. You saw the insults by youths from Southern Province that said Edgar Lungu cannot be allowed to come to Southern Province. That is a no-go zone area for Edgar Lungu. They've not been arrested. You have seen a young man from Northwestern Province who even identifies himself on the video. And he says he will circumcise the former president. And he takes it upon himself that he's willing to kill the former president. Nothing has been done. You saw the ridiculous and terrible remarks by the Minister of Education, Douglas Yakalima, and what he said about the people of Luapula, calling them names. Has he been arrested? In fact, when one of the active political party leaders in Honorable Sean Tembo took the matter to court, because clearly that was hate speech. Who do you think this law is targeting? Who do you think this law is targeting? It is targeting the opposition. It is targeting critics of the president. It is targeting all of us to shut us out, to shut us quietly. This law, if enacted, in fact will cause further division, as the misapplication of the current law has shown. The misapplication has sowed discontent and disaffection that a certain group of people in Zambia are being targeted for harassment, persecution, and destruction. That's what it shows. Why haven't you arrested Batuke Imenda? Why haven't you arrested the youths that have been issuing this hate speech? Why only arrest members of the opposition? What you are saying, the feeling you are sowing in the country, that there are certain people that are above the law, and there are certain people that need to be punished for committing the same offenses that your members are committing, but you've arraigned them before the courts of law. This law is also inconsistent with the Republican Constitution. clearly unconstitutional, as I read above. It's also inconsistent to international treaties and protocols such as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. It also contravenes the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. It also contravenes the Declaration of Principles of Freedom of Expression and Access to Information in Africa. We call upon government to withdraw the Penal Code Amendment Bill number 17 of 2024 until sufficient consultations are made amongst stakeholders and until a proper bill drafted that will not be subjected to state abuse, that will not be arbitrary in its application, and that should not infringe on cardinal freedom of expression, religious and cultural rights, is enacted, is drafted. This law must be withdrawn until those principles of consultation, public debate, and you remove those issues that are taking away freedom of expression. And you also remove the wide and broad nature of the wording, where you can use the law to catch anyone for whatever they wish to say. We've warned before that President Hakainde Hichilema is actively fostering a totalitarian state, a dictatorship in our country. He has narrowed the democratic and media space. He has abused, degraded, and eroded the independence and autonomy of democratic institutions such as parliament and the judiciary. If President Hakainde Hichilema will be allowed to proceed to legislate this law, will have been all of us complicit, because we'll have allowed him to legislate dictatorship, to legislate silence in this country, to outlaw criticism, because the law in the manner it has been fashioned, it can catch anyone. It literally puts silence in the country, that you can't raise your voice against any matter because this law will follow you. So we call upon the president to withdraw this bill. We call upon President Hakainde Hichilema and his Minister of Justice to withdraw this draconian bill. It has gone to hurt our constitution and our democratic aspirations. Besides, we have sufficient laws that criminalize hate speech. We have sufficient laws that criminalize ethnic talk. We have sufficient laws that outlaw ridiculing or holding people in contempt. You do not have to bring a draconian law in the manner that you have brought it. So thank you very much for this opportunity to hear from us. These were our concerns, the issues at Bank of Zambia, the illegal declaration of Kawambwa seat as vacant and calling for such an election to take place on 20th December 2022, and the Penal Code Amendment Bill of 2024, which is draconian, should not see the light of the day. If it does, it will dim the light on democracy. God bless you. God bless our country. Until we discuss another matter, thank you very much.